RFK Jr. I had him on the show a couple days ago, and we talked about conspiracy theories and slow motion reality and time release truth and all that stuff. I asked people to come up with some of your dangerous ideas, and nobody seems to really know what they are, but that doesn't stop the New York Times.
Yeah, and all of my conspiracy theories, as it turns out, have come true. They're no longer theories. They're now proven hypotheses. But I do wonder about it. I was thinking about this morning because this hailstorm of negative publicity about me really kind of not. It goes beyond like hit pieces to be just this, poisonous vitriol that is coming from all the legacy media, from the Atlantic Monthly, from New York Magazine, New Yorker, from the Washington Post, from the New York Times, from Vanity Fair, and they all kind of use the same talking points, and they also are not accurate. And that's one of the reasons it doesn't trouble me, is because it's just inaccuracies and distortions.
Brian, it seems like he's just getting a dose of what Republicans have been getting a dose of for a long time.
Yeah, so here's what's so fascinating to me about this. We talked earlier about how Trump didn't show up because at some level he didn't want to punch down. He's so far ahead. Biden and his team, and frankly those around him, they're punching, as it were, down. They're trying to take this guy out, even though he is dramatically behind in the polls, if you believe most of them. But so the point is that they actually view him as a threat. There's something about him that is very frightening to the Democrat Party. So that, to me, I think is perhaps the most interesting development over the past week or so, which is this guy is resonating at some level that scares the living crap out of the Biden campaign and other Democrats. To me, there's something else going on here that he's tapping into, and I think that that's really important to acknowledge.
Michael, you debate Democrats all the time and go to college events where you often open up the floor. I do it too. I always say, if you disagree with me, you come up first. You do that stuff all the time. I know it's getting harder and harder to find sort of legit people to debate with. The fact that this guy is obviously not going to be allowed on the stage with Biden, they're never going to have him primary in the first place. That's one thing. But further in the conversation, I said to him, are you in any contact with the Democratic Party, the DNC? No. That was the answer. One word, no. Does that tell you all you need to know about the Democrats? The Republicans, for all their faults, when Trump was the renegade in 2015, they didn't stop him. He ran right through and took over. The Democrats are full on stopping the renegade. And by the way, they've done this before, cue Bernie Sanders.
And think about who the renegade is. The renegade is a Kennedy. He's Jack Kennedy's nephew, Bobby Kennedy's son. He's, in his own right, a major figure on the left for the past 30, 40 years now. But because he contradicts their narrative on a few issues, and more importantly, because he threatens their power, now the guy's totally out. Forget about what the DNC is saying about him and Biden. Look at what his own sister says about him. Bobby Kennedy is filmed at a dinner mentioning a scientific theory. What does he say? He says, there's a fear now that there are ethnically targeted bioweapons, which is just true. That's been written about in magazines for years. And he says, and there is a theory about COVID that it's harsher on certain races than it is on other races. Also true, you can look up the scientific paper. All the man is saying is there is a theory, which you can read in a scientific paper that was published a couple years ago, that this has different effects with different genetic backgrounds. He is called an anti-Semite, a vile racist by not only the White House, his own sister, Kerry Kennedy. It reminds you that on the Democrat side, on the left broadly, there is no more important tie than political convenience, and that includes immediate family.